What's up, y'all? Welcome to Union Minded. I'm your host, Eric, and today we're going to recap the Local 26 Union meeting from Friday, and we're also going to discuss a little bit about the motion process because there was some confusion. So let's get right into it. Just to give you a heads up, the Union meeting on Friday, basically the main theme of it was the swearing in of the new officers. We had just had an election last month, and so this month we're swearing in the new officers. That's what happened on Friday. I will note that the union meeting was sparsely attended. The location that I was at, for instance, had 7 people in the front row, 5 people in the second row, and about 60 people overall, give or take, in the room. It was a normal order of business. You could tell that the officers were in a good mood because obviously they were getting sworn in. That means they're accepting their role. They won the election, and they should be in a good mood. It's expected, and it was evident. Folks were smiling. It was a very jovial feeling in the room. We got some updates on charges that were filed and a punishment for one of them, but I'm not going to get into the details. Just let you know that charges had been filed. Some of them are still under review, and somebody was punished for the charges that were brought against them, which is good to see. That's members policing members, and I love to see it. The report of the business manager. George retired on Friday, handing the baton over to Joe Dabbs, who won the election for business manager. And George retired. And so he gave basically a farewell speech as his business report of the business manager. And I kind of took some key points, and I just want to bring them to you. He expressed pride in our membership, especially apprentices, saying that he spent a lot of time talking to apprentices and hanging out with them. He said serving the local was the greatest pleasure in his life. He told a story about how his father swore him in 6 years ago, which was lovely. It was really nice to see. He mentioned how he spent 50 years at Local 26 volunteering and working for the local. He advocated for member involvement. And then he kind of big upped his staff for all the hard work that they've done with updating Local 26 operations. He also pleaded with the membership to help the new administration to be successful. The vibe was kind of like help us to help you type of deal. He expressed knowledge of how hard the work in the field is, and then kind of expressed how difficult the work in the office is, and that he hopes that the members can appreciate all the hard work that takes place in the offices. He asked the young people to take care of the old folks, which if you're a good union brother, you already know about this. That means basically, if you're young in the trade, you need the knowledge. The older guy has the knowledge, but he doesn't have the physicality anymore to be so ferocious as a young man can. And so with guidance, your physicality helps to get the job done. His wisdom helps to teach you the job. And that's kind of how this whole circle of life works when you're talking about a union electrician with an apprentice. This is how it works. You know, Jedi and Padawan, this is how it works. And so he kind of expressed how the young folks need to take care of the older folks. And he also said that there's a lot to be learned from the older members. And he also said that we should all be open because the younger members have a lot of great ideas. And I'd like to expand upon that. The younger folks, while they don't have the knowledge of the trade because they haven't studied it and they're learning it now, I would say the younger generation is better at critical thinking and problem solving because of the way they grew up and the age that they grew up in. And so that they should be allowed more opportunity to come up with the ideas with the backing of the journeyman, and we should take that approach, and that's the approach I try to take. So that's just sidebar. What else happened? There was a motion to change the meeting time from 8 p.m. to 6 p.m. There's a lot of discussion on it. Some folks discussed on how difficult it will be to attend a 6 p.m. meeting, to which the rebuttal by the person who motioned it was basically you got to do the best that you can. And really, in all honesty, 10,000 ballots went out, 1,400 ballots were returned. Okay? And that's not even leaving your house. One of our brothers made that point, and he made it very strongly, and I agreed with it, is that if you want to be at a union meeting, you're going to be at a union meeting. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be there, you're going to make the time to be there. Folks were complaining about maybe if they're on an overtime job, how are they supposed to get? Well, you know what? You don't have to work every hour of overtime. That's not mandatory. Prioritize. Union meetings are important and you should be there. Let's see. I did want to talk about the motion process because there was some confusion. So the motion was made to move it back, right? Then there was an amendment to the motion. And the amendment was to move it to 7 p.m. instead of 6. Okay. Then during discussion, someone got up and asked, well, how do we stop this motion from being turned back in a month? Like, we should have a time frame on how long we're going to try to do this. And I think that it's important to note the same process that you're going through to make this change, which is making a motion last month, having the second reading this month, discussing it this month. If it passes this month, it gets enacted next month. Now, you need to go to the next meeting if you're really upset about it and want to revert it, and make a motion to try to change it back and try to convince the body who just approved it that it's a bad idea and you want to go back. And that's how you would do it. You can't, like, the local can't just unilaterally start doing things differently. There's a process to how things get changed, and that process is the motioning process during union meetings. And that's why it's so important that we all attend union meetings, because those who have good ideas and want to advance the local in a different direction, that's the place where you can make a motion and put your idea on the floor and have it debated and have the membership decide if your idea is really a good idea, and then boom, it gets enacted and you go forward with it. So that's something that is really important to note. When you make a motion and it's at the second reading, it gets passed. In order to undo that, you have to go through that process again. It can't just be unilateral. Oh, we don't like how that turned out. No, there's a decision-making process that has to go through. So it's important to note. But anyway, the motion was made, blah, blah, blah. It was amended, blah, blah, blah. And then, the question was called. That means end discussion. We want to vote on it. And lo and behold, it passes. So the membership will receive a letter that tells them, hey, next month your union meeting is at 7 p.m. instead of 8 p.m. because 2 apprentices got up. One of them motioned for a 6 p.m., one of them amended it to 7 p.m., and 2 apprentices changed the start time of the meeting. I thought it was beautiful. Good to see. I love to see the young people taking ownership of their local, because that's kind of what needs to happen across the board. And the young people are the ones that got the energy, and I love to see it. So great job. I applaud your effort. And I'll be there at 7 p.m. because that's the time it starts, and it's important to be there. I will make the time to be there. But yeah, great job. So then, you had the swearing in of the officers after that. And it was nice to see, everybody taking their oath and smiling. It was good. It was a good deal. Special congratulations to a couple of our sisters a couple of our siblings who won a shooting competition. Carrie James, Cordelia McCoy, Shemaiah Francis, and Greta Nicholson. Big up to y'all. Way to go. Applaud y'all too. And that was basically the union meeting in a nutshell. That's what went down. And I know these videos are too long, but they're important. All right. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it informative. If you're a Local 26 member, let's call it the news. Have a great day. And remember, the fight's not left and right. It's up and down. And it's going to take solidarity to win always. And don't forget, each one teach one. Get out there and reach one. Let's talk about the process. Peace.